So we're here with Kirk and Stephanie Clausen from
Missionaries for Hope.
And today we're going to talk about a film that you guys are producing. How is your ministry and the film tie in?
Sure. So we've been in the anti-trafficking movement or arena for about 4 years now. And when we started doing a lot of interventions, outreaches, working in aftercare, working directly with women. And so last year we had our first event, which was our first collective event, where we took organizations in the Galveston County area, put them all in one room and introduced the community to them, and said these organizations work with women that are victims of domestic violence and trafficking, pregnant single mothers. And then after that, we kind of sat back for a second. We were like, okay, I think we're in the right arena, but maybe we're not in the right position, because we've done so much outreach and we've reached the women who are being exploited. So trafficking is a supply and demand issue, and we've been doing all this work with the supply, reaching the women, and it just hit us. Like, I don't want to do outreach forever. Not that I don't find value in it, because it is very valuable and we've met some amazing women. But what if we reach the women now when they're 11 and 12 and 13 before we have to reach them when they enter into the sex industry? So we just kind of sat back and said, okay, like, what are students using? How can we, like, we're in our 40s, but how can we reach 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds? Well, they'll identify with it or they'll understand it. And of course, TV. Yeah. And so we just kind of sat back and thought, what's really going on? And we started talking to more people. We have a really great friend that has an organization up in Houston, and he kind of gave us some ideas about grooming, kind of told us about it, and then we just thought, this is a big deal. Like, this is how these traffickers are gaining access to our students, is they're on social media, on every type of social media platform, and so we need to make them aware of what's going on. And so we just kind of, this idea popped in our head and we didn't know what to do with it, but go ahead.
Sorry, this may be a random fact, but it'll tie in, which is most trafficking victims do not self-identify as being a trafficking victim. So if you have a trafficker that it's a romance type situation, boyfriend, girlfriend, and somewhere along the way in this grooming process, a debt is incurred. And then how the trafficker gets the young lady into it is she has to repay the debt. Yeah. And so that it feels like a unique experience for most trafficking victims. They feel like this is their life. It's an isolated incident. It's not something that is a common tactic for traffickers. And so the reason we thought of a film is we could explain the steps, the really brilliant business model that traffickers use, and the step-by-step process that they use to get a young lady to willingly walk out of her home and into the trafficker's arms, if you will.
What are the signs that they're seeing that maybe their child is being groomed by one of these traffickers? Sure.
And so that's what's so great about our film, because you can kind of see it from both angles. Well, actually, there's 4 angles of it. You see it from the friends, who they have this really great friend group, and most of the gals that we know have been friends with their friends. Oh, we've been friends since 3rd grade, or we've been friends, and then she has a healthy relationship with her mom, and then you kind of see it from the trafficker side. So our film kind of hits it from all angles, and so. What it is, so as a parent, how the film goes is you see her and she's interacting, hanging out with her friends, hanging out with her mom, and then you see as she starts talking with this person online more and more, and then there's flashes where you see them hanging out and they're walking together and they're holding hands, and then he buys her a gift, and she says, this is so wonderful, like they're texting, and she says, how can I ever repay you? And he says that, well, you can send me a pic.
Oh, okay.
Now, lingo is understanding that is a nude photo, and so she sends the picture, and this happens often, that then that picture is used as what did what were they calling it? Like sextortion.
Yeah.
So what he was doing then is saying, like, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm sending this picture to your mom, I'm posting it on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to know what you've done. So of course, gosh, if I was 16 or 17,
Yeah,
I would die
Yeah,
if my dad knew I sent something or knew what I was doing. So then of course, out of shame, then she does whatever he asks. Well,
Yeah.
then it's just kind of a downhill spiral. So as a parent, you can see if your child starts spending more time by themselves in their room, if they're coming home with gifts that are more than possibly what their job is able to afford, nails done, clothing,
A new friend
a
group.
new friend group that maybe like you've never met these people.
Or a separation from an existing friend group.
Yeah, so, and a lot of it is just isolation. And so the trafficker wants to isolate the gal from everything she used to know. And then by doing that, he introduces different things to her, drugs or alcohol or a lifestyle that she's never been a part of, partying and staying out late.
Yeah.
And so as a parent, you know your kid. And you know your kid's character and you know their personality. And when you see a shift like that, you need to ask questions.
And a primary tactic that a trafficker uses is to cause division in the home and cause division in that friend group so that the trafficker can isolate the young lady from and cause division. For example, as Stephanie says, back in the day,
Yeah.
she would get on the telephone that was connected to the wall and she would, punch in the numbers and call her friend and go, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of my mom. I'm so tired of the way things are in this house. And she would hang up the phone and that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
And she would blow off steam. And nowadays, what kids do or what young people do, they get online, they get on social media, and they put that out there for the world to see. I'm
Yeah.
so sick of my house. I can't wait until I can move out. I'm tired of the way things are here. And you do have people that are looking for that so
Yeah.
that they can capitalize on that and then exploit that bit of tension or blowing off that steam into causing a full-blown division and isolation and separation. So that's a long answer to your question, which would be, that's definitely one thing to look for as a parent or grandparent,
Yeah.
aunt,
Yeah,
uncle,
definitely.
whatever the case may be, is that new, that something that is different and that division and separation from
Yeah.
the family unit.
This just doesn't happen with, let's say a like lower social economic, group or,
great
I mean,
question.
it happens,
across the
it's
board.
across the board.
Yes.
And the thing is, like every single day on my social media, I'm seeing more and more reports of, children being kidnapped or, I'm looking for my daughter. My daughter's been missing for so long. And
Right.
I keep seeing more and more of this. And so this is, and this isn't just something that's Texas, because I know Texas is there's a huge problem here, but this is a nationwide
Absolutely.
crisis, right?
Absolutely.
And I
You bet.
think that's kind of the misconception, and that's what we're really hoping that this film and just through open conversation, that it's not just foster care kids, it's not just runaway, it's not just low income or poverty. These are kids that come from families that make six figures, live in a $400,000 house. Some of them are latchkey kids. Some of them, their kids, their parents work late and they're left alone a lot. And because it takes two families,
Yeah.
to afford,
And-
living.
And so I think where that thought comes from with it being foster kids or kids that are, socioeconomically lower or on a lower socioeconomic scale is that access to those young people was greater and easier for people to get in the past.
Yeah.
But now, the reason it can go across the board is because of social media, because of online gaming, because of all these things. Now there's access across the board to
Yeah.
all different socioeconomic varieties.
Well, and the
so-
vulnerabilities are
Yes.
all the same. It doesn't
Right.
matter if your parents make $30,000 a year, your parents make $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
The gal thinks she's too fat, thinks she's too tall.
Right.
She has her acne, her hair is greasy, my mom doesn't understand me, I don't like my curfew. And it's the same everywhere. It was the same with me. Now when I look back at it, I find that I apologize to my mom a lot more lately as I get older, because I'm realizing like, oh my gosh. But and we didn't come from a poor home, and the same issues that are tackling our children now are the very same issues that I was dealing with back then. And maybe I didn't like my clothes, or maybe I don't know what it is. And so what's happening is that they're getting online and they're saying all of this, and they're hitting post. And it's going out to everybody, and all it takes is for that one guy to go, oh, my parents too. And then all of a sudden that teen goes, oh, really? And here you are.
There's that connection there.
There's
Okay.
that connection.
Absolutely.
Oh, why does it? And then they form this relationship, they form this bond, they start trusting each other, then they meet up, and then it's fun. And so that's what happens. And girls are very impressionable, especially because women are always looking for validation. And so if somebody can validate you through a gift, or through time spent, or through words of affirmation, then a lot of young girls who don't know how to process that go, oh, he loves me.
Yeah.
I've been in love 200 times, and it's like, I remember I was in love in 7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade, and but it's just not like it was back when I was younger.
So you have, not only do parents kind of look out for their kids, but if you're a parent, how can you identify, or how could you maybe see that something is going on with maybe your child's friend, or your neighbor's friend, or how do they stay aware of their surroundings and look to see, well, maybe something's going on with her.
Right.
How do you identify that?
We have to talk about this. It's not like if we avoid it, it'll go away. That is absolutely the wrong way to look at it. We have to talk about it in parent groups. We need to sit and talk and go, have you heard? Or do you know? Or have you seen? And that's why we would love for parents to come watch the film, because then it kind of gives you like this, wait, my daughter's been acting, maybe they might see that, or go, hey, my sister's kid, or my niece, or my nephew, or my neighbor across the street. And it's just being able to come up to your friend and go, hey, I've noticed that you and your daughter aren't as close as you used to be. What's going on? And having those talks, because it's not, this is my family and I'm going to raise it the way that I want, and that's fine, please do that. But our community and our family units are being attacked by this. And we can't walk around, and we can't go to church and pretend like it's not happening in church, and we can't go to work, and it's happening all around us. And if you think your child is exempt, that's probably a prime target. And so that's what our heart is to say, parents, you got to start parenting. That cell phone that you pay for, that you handed your kid, you need to say, I want to take a look at your phone. Who are you? Who is this? Go through the pictures. What is this picture? You know what? Your kid is not going to like you, and your kid is going to be mad at you, and your kid is going to hate you. But guess what? Those questions could have ultimately saved your child from speaking to someone they shouldn't have been. Or, no, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you could have an Instagram. Take that off your phone right now. And really stepping up and just going, I don't want to ever make a phone call to the police that my child didn't come home.
Well, and I would like to add that also ultimately we strived, if that's the correct word, for our film to be relatable for parents and for young people. And so with the equal message of that open communication, or what happens when there's not that open communication. And so our goal is for parents to be able to recognize all of these things. But our goal also, the heart behind it, is for young people to be equipped to recognize these steps for themselves and for their friend groups. And ultimately, that's our goal, is for young people to have this information, this awareness, this knowledge, so that they're not caught unaware, or they're not being sold a dream, as the lingo goes, and so that friends can recognize, because they spend more time with each other than they do at home with their parents when they're in school. And ultimately, for friends to be able to defend and protect their friend group by recognizing these signs, because kids are going to tell other kids more than they're going to tell their parents. And so that is really, although we do honor and respect parents, and we are parents, and we understand how vital it is for parents to be involved, ultimately, our goal is to have young people be equipped with this awareness and knowledge so that they can recognize and stop this
Yeah.
within their friend groups.
So at the heart of this whole campaign is the film. So parents that are watching watching this now, or anybody else that's like they're watching the video and they're saying to themselves, how can I get a hold of the video, or how can we get it shown at our church or at our school?
Absolutely, yes. And so that is really our heart. So right now, we are really wanting to use it as an awareness tool. And so we would love to come to a church or to a women's group or to a youth group. So we're having actually a youth event on February 19th. And so we
It's a
had...
free event.
Yeah, a free event. So we had we had another event a couple weeks ago, but that wasn't geared towards students, and so now it is. We're going to show the film. We're going to have some open dialogue. It's a comfortable space for them to ask questions about, like, what is online grooming? What does all this mean? But it's also where it's kind of like, if you're an educator, we would love to be able to sit down with you and say, the demographic that this film is geared towards, that's your whole, like, it's schools. Your schools are full of these vulnerable students. We would love to come in and show it as in an auditorium, have a Q&A, and just be able to have the students go like, oh my gosh, maybe self-identify, or go, oh, that's my friend, or something. And then also, if you want to show it at the church, so you can go on our website at missionariesforhope.com, and you can fill out this little form that just says who you are, and it emails us, and then we can contact you, find out what your needs are and how we can help get this film in your hands.
And so at some point in time, we do believe in our film that it will speak for itself or stand alone, and that is our ultimate goal as well. But at this time, we feel we really want to do it in presentation format. We really want to have some statistics, and we really want to talk and open up the line of communication with parents and young people while we present the film, and talk before and talk after. And so that's ultimately where we're at this moment with the film. But we do believe it will stand alone in time. So.
Yeah, I mean, and the goal, and the goal for, your ministry and for the film, it's basically stopping this horrendous thing that's going on in our...
And that's
It's
what it
equipping.
is.
Yeah.
And that's our heart, is equipping.
Yeah.
Equipping parents, equipping young people with the knowledge that can stop this. Stop it for this young lady or this young lady. That's ultimately
we just want
our
to
heart.
disrupt. So like I said, trafficking is supply and demand. We want to disrupt the supply.
Yeah.
So we work with other ministries that reach the demand side. Well, our heart was like, well, how can we disrupt the supply? How can we equip this whole generation to where all of a sudden there's no more people to pick from, because they all know better, and they're all, they're engaged with their family, they're engaged with their friend group. And so we really want to put this tool in our students' hands and say, you guys are smart, you're good people, now here's a tool to keep yourself safe. So that's really kind of our heart.
Wow, that's great.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming by today. If there's anything else that you kind of want to add to our time?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Travis Plunkett. So he was the one that came down. So he's actually a 19-year-old gentleman.
Oh, wow. He
graduated high school and flew down to do the film for us. So he had just graduated high school, and we just threw this idea at him. We had no script, no budget. We just kind of showed up at random places and had the girls in the film show up, and we just said, be you. We want this to look natural.
Yeah.
Wear your hair the way you normally do. Wear the clothes that you normally wear, because we wanted other people to see it and not think, oh, that's Hollywood, or oh, that wouldn't happen here. We wanted it very relatable. And he just has poured his heart into it, and he has done a fantastic job. He is using his gifts and talents in such a beautiful way. And just to think that he's 19 now, and there's a lot of men that want to be involved in the anti-trafficking movement, but they don't know how, because unfortunately the way that it's viewed is that men are the problem.
Yeah.
but we truly believe that men can also be the solution.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I mean, fathers and grandparents, I mean, yeah, of
absolutely.
course. I mean,
Absolutely.
having the men
Yeah.
kind of be a part of it and
Absolutely.
equip them with, well, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And if I see, a text from somebody who's, I don't know who this is, well, ask questions and figure out what's going on. But yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
And so it was so wonderful that he's a young gentleman and seeing the value in this, because this is his generation that, so he's taking this and he has his name on it and he put his heart into it. And so we just kind of sat and I told him my vision in my head, because I knew what it looked like in my head, and I tried as much as I could to tell him what it was, and he just took that and made it into something so beautiful. So I'm
That's
very
great.
proud and honored to work
That's
alongside
awesome.
him.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and we have a great church that supports us and
Yeah.
and friend group. So thank you, Dominion Church.
All right.
And we just have a good group of people, and to our kids who have supported us and loved on us, and they're just we just have a good support team.
Yeah,
I think so.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone who has been involved in this fight.
Yeah.
Everybody who's going to get involved in
Absolutely.
this fight, and all the local political figures that are really stepping up and fighting.
Yeah.
All the law enforcement officers
Yeah.
that are getting involved, that are getting
Yeah.
educated, sometimes on their own time, so
Yeah.
that they can get involved. And just the general, we're very thankful for the culture shift that's happening, because this subject is becoming less taboo, and it's becoming more of this is a recognizable problem, and it's okay to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about it with our kids, or
Yeah.
so we're thankful
Yeah.
for
'Cause
that.
it's-
So for everybody that's getting involved or has been involved, we just want to say thank you. This is
Absolutely.
great. That's the
And you.
mission.
I just want to, it's in our backyard.
Yeah.
It's not something
Yeah.
that's, happening in another country
Yeah.
where you read about it. I mean, this is in our city.
Yeah.
In our city, in our backyard,
Yeah.
in this, in this state. And I'm glad you guys are causing positive ripples throughout our community
Thank you.
to let
Thank you.
people, like you say, be equipped.
Yes.
Because, even if it's just one person that you save, just one person.
Yes,
And
that's always been our heart.
You
We're
know?
like,
Yeah.
it's all about the one.
Yeah.
We don't know who that one is, but we just figure we'll go out, we'll do what we can, we'll serve how we can serve, and whoever that impacts, then it was meant to be that person.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by today, and good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right.